Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we are going back to the roots and we are going to talk about the Arch Linux installation procedure, and well, we are going to talk about setting up networking during our Arch Linux installation. So as you might know, if you have been reading the Arch Linux installation script or the installation guide rather, then that in Arch Linux, when you install the system, you are actually installing it from the online packages which are available on the internet. So there are other like Linux live images which contain all the basic packages, so you can install them without internet connection. That's not true for the basic Arch Linux installation case. So that's why we are obliged to take a look at the installation guide here for connecting to the internet. So we are going to, of course, looking at our slideshow here. So this is mostly the IP command, but we will be using other commands too. Basically, all these things that we are talking about in this video can also be used in an installed Arch Linux system. So if you have an installed system which does not have like a graphical interface, you are just using the console, you will be able to use the same tools that we are looking at here. But usually if you have a graphical interface installed, like a desktop environment or window manager or whatever, you will have graphical tools for managing your internet connections. And so the Arch installation we talked about previously: booting, live environment, setting keyboard layout, verifying boot mode. So now we are going to connect to the internet phase of things, as I already showed you here in the installation guide. And so we will have to go through the following things here. So let's take a look. So we can have basically in a modern system wired or wireless connections to the internet. And so mostly if you have like a desktop computer, that's usually going to have a wired connection. If you have like a laptop, that will be probably using a wireless connection. Nowadays, like even in my old, like 5-year-old laptop, if you want to use the wired connection, you have to like attach like a weird cable there. But wired is usually very straightforward to set up, while wireless will require us some additional tinkering, because in the wired case, you are connected through a cable, but in the wireless case you have to choose between the connection points, not like the Wi-Fi routers, and those can have like different solutions for security, etc. Once you have connected physically to the network, either through the cable or through the microwaves, then you will have to choose between fixed or dynamic IP address. So fixed IP is kind of an old school solution. If you have like a router at home or at wherever you want to set up your machine, then you will probably have a DHCP server running inside your router. So you will have a dynamic IP address. So we will of course address that thing too. So first we are going to take a look at the wired networks, because well, it's easier to take a look at wired networks, because if we are using like a emulated system, like in the the QEMU, I have a virtual machine. In the virtual machine we are having a virtual wired connection. So what we can do is we can list all our network interfaces using the IP link command. So we are going to do just like that. IP, am I typing here? No. IP link. So here you can see we have the LO and ENS3 as our two, basically the two interfaces towards a network, and the LO is the loopback. You can read it in the in between those larger than and the smaller than signs. You can see like it's loopback, it's up and lower up. This is basically your local host as far as I understand. And you also have the ENS3, which has like the broadcast, multicast, up, lower up, everything. So this is basically the virtual wired connection that is emulated here. So we can check if the DHCP client is running. So I'm sorry for I'm looking at my other monitor where I'm doing like this. So I have to check if I'm recording the proper things for you. So excuse me if I'm not holding the eye connection quite well. So basically we will be checking if our systemd service for DHCP client is running. So for that we can use the systemctl list units command, and we want to just grab, so select the lines with DHCP in it, and if I press enter you can see that the DHCP CD at ens3.service is running, and you can see on the right side that it says loaded, active, running DHCPD on ENS3. And if you look back, ENS3 was our virtual emulated interface, that's the word for it. So if we look back at the slideshow, you can see that basically if this service is not running, then we can just start it using the systemctl start command. So what I could do is just type systemctl start DHCP CD at ENS3. But nothing will happen, so I'll just list out the service again. So I already run this. So let's go back and stop with systemctl stop DHCP CD. And now if I list it, you can see it's not there anymore. So I start again. And the service is there. Okay, so now that we've done that, let's check our adapter properties using the IP address command, and then we will, if we have an IP address, then we can try the connection by pinging a server. So let's do the IP address, and this will list all the IP addresses out there. So you can see that for the LO device, the iNet, so it's in the third row there, it says 127.0.0.1, which is the localhost IP address, not too surprisingly. And for ENS3, or we can just do, let's clear this, and let's just say IP address ENS3. What do I miss? IP address. Maybe I cannot just get the IP address of only that interface. Whatever. We see it there, and you can see that it's broadcast, multicast, it's up, it's lower up, and etc. And in the third row, you can see inet 10.0.2.15/24 is there, and so there is a broadcast address after that. And so if we go back to the internet here, so this one you can find on the network configuration here, DHCP server. No, actually the meaning of that is here. So here you can see that we use like the CIDR notation, classless internet domain routing. So basically this, like the 24 there, like this is the IP address /24. This represents a subnet mask of 25.5, 25.5, 25.50. So if you have been using like Windows or maybe some graphical network manager, you are used to probably using this subnet mask in setting up a Wi-Fi or rather any kind of the internet, any kind of IP address manually. And so this subnet mask corresponds to 25 bits. So this is like 25 or rather 24. So it's every byte is 8 bits. So it's 8 times 3, which is 24. So that's just, this notation is the same as using this subnet mask. So don't let it confuse you. So this is what we got on our IP address. That's the /24. That's what it means. So now that we know that, let's just ping something like archlinux.org. ORG, that's what I'm saying. So now it's pinging ArchLinux, and you can see that apollo.archlinux.org is answering our ping request, which means that our internet connection works. So if you are installing ArchLinux in a virtual machine, in QEMU, or even in like a VirtualBox or something, you will have no problem getting to the network. You just basically, you probably will have the DHCP/CD service running for your wired emulated stuff, and you can just ping and it will work. So that was the easy part, because sometimes, of course, you need to set up a manual IP address. So you can use this very long command. It is described in the ArchWiki how it works. So let's take a look at that first. So we are back here, and so IP address add is the command, and so address/prefix. So we can see that already that, so IP address and add is just like the command. So we use the IP command, address and add subcommands, or how should I explain it? And then address/prefix is just what I was talking about, the IP address and the subnet mask. And then we just add the broadcast address, which is basically the broadcast IP address is the IP address to which you send messages that you want every computer to receive on this specific network, and use a interface, which is the name of the interface you've been using. So maybe you can see it better here on the slideshow if you want to read the command. So IP address add So let's take a look at our QEMU here, and let's type in IP address add, and I will want to use maybe a 10.0.2, let's say just 120, and I will also use the 24-bit subnet mask. I will say that broadcast plus, so it will automatically take the broadcast address based on the previous data I added, and then I will add interface, which is NS3 in my case. So if I press enter, what, ENS3 is a garbage? Oh, because I have to add that. Okay, sorry. So the full command is actually IP address add 10.0.2.120/24 broadcast plus dev DEV, and then the name of the interface. So this is the command you should be typing in. And once I've did that, let's just go back to IP. What have I done? I said, let's just go back to IP address and just enter. And like now you can see there that ENS3 is link/ether, and then down in the third row is INET 10. yeah, no, the fifth row actually. So we have added another IP address to this because we already have one added by the DHCP client. So what we can do is, well, we will actually IP address and delete if I am correct. There is the del command, which is in the Arch wiki here. So if you need to delete something from your IP addresses, so if you need to delete an IP address, then you have to use this delete command, and that's what I am going to do here. So I will delete the 10.0.2.15/24 if I use the numerical keys instead of other keys, and then if I get my IP addresses, then you can take a look and you can see that now only this 10.0.2.120 is alive. And let's go back to pinging archlinux.org, and we can see that our IP address with this statically set up IP address works like a charm. So this is how you can do it. So probably, like, if you have some special case, like you are on a network where you don't have a DHCP service running for some reason, then you can use this command to add an IP address, or if you want for some reason to override the DHCP granted address, then this is what you do. So let's move forward to the wireless network, and this one will require me to type on my laptop. So this will be the most edited or the most heavily edited episode of this Noob versus Arch Linux video series. So let's go to my laptop. Okay, so what is going on here is that I just basically asked the systemctl, the systemd, to list the units with DHCP in it, and we can see that the DHCP-CD daemon for the DHCP client is running for the ENP2S 0F2 interface, which is apparently a wired interface which is not connected in the laptop. You can see that no carrier is what appears at that line, and also there is the WLAN, which does not have a DHCP client running there. So that's what I just checked first, and then of course we will use these other tools like the IW tools, which is the suggestion of the Arch wiki. We have kind of all these commands listed, how to check for the devices that provide us with wireless internet access, how to check what kind of access points are available for us, how to turn on this interface, how to do through all these things, and what to look up at this kind of what kind of output those commands do, and what are the information we can get these outputs. So let's go through this in the slideshow, and I will explain what's basically more relevant to this case. So we can use the IWDev to check what is the name of the wireless device, because based on just this list from the IP address list that I just shown you, this does not show us which is the wireless device. So first let's just take a look at that. So the IWDev command gives us basically the most basic information about our wireless interface. So we can check its status with IWDev and the interface name and the command link. And so this command gives us the not connected answer, which means, yeah, it's not connected, but it's not that much of a information. So let's just verify the interface through the IP link command. So here we can see that it's a broadcast multicast, but nothing else is, and the state is down. So we can just turn this on in this case. So the Archwiki actually says that usually the device is not turned off, but if it's turned off, then like in my case, we can turn it on using the IP link set interface up command. So, and of course, interface is the name of the interface we are using. So after that, we check the status with the IP link set interface, and it will tell us that the interface is basically, it has no carrier, which means that it's not connected to any specific access point, but it is up. There you can see at the end. And now if we basically made sure that it's up, let's look for our Wi-Fi networks available with the next command. You have to pipe the output of this command into less, because it will have a lot of output. So we can just scroll through it and look for the SSID, which is the name of the network, and we can look at the RSN or WPA parts to verify which kind of security settings we will going to need. So for example, in this case, we can see the SSID here, and we can see that there is WPA security settings for this network. Okay, so now that we've done that, and we see that we have RSN or WPA security, then we will need to use the IWD suite to connect. So this is of course also written down here, that if you have the security which is not this WEP, then you will have to use another kind of command, and we will be using the IWD suite, for which we will have to enable the service first. So we will have to use the systemd command to start the service, and then run the IWCTL command to get into the basically a kind of a live prompt of the IWD set suite. So now that we have like this green prompt with the IWD prompt, and then we have the cursor waiting for our input, so we can list our devices again with the device list command, which is unsurprisingly the same WLAN 0, and then we can get the access points using the station scan command, and we can list all these access points that are being scanned with this get networks command. So we get a blinking list of all these stations, or rather the access points we've got, and we can choose one that is favored. So this basically, these kind of access points will be the access points that you will most probably find in your own home. So if you are doing it at home and you have to connect to your home wireless network, you will be using this kind of setup. So now that we've seen all the access points listed, then now we can use this station and the device name and connect and the SSID name to actually connect to the access point we would like to connect to, and then just enter your credentials, which is in this case, which is in the usual case that you will have at your home. Your router will have like a Wi-Fi password, so you just enter this password here and connect to the network. Then you can enable the DHCP-CD service for the interface with the systemctl start command, and you will have to use the name of this wireless interface at this command. So of course, if you are not using the Arch ISO and you are actually setting up the network on your live, not the live USB, but like the real system, then you don't just need the systemctl start command, you also have to enable the service systemctl enable to basically start the same daemon, the DHCP client for your computer every time you start it up. And then you can check whether your device is working properly by the IP address show interface command, or just type in IP address and that will list all your interfaces. And now you can see that you got an IP address for your device. And this concludes my presentation here. So I hope I could be of help setting up your Arch Linux networking for the live USB, or maybe you got some better understanding of what's going on when you have to set up the networking in the command line interface when you only get the console. And I did not really see many tutorials that actually show you live how you connect in the command line to the wireless network, so I hope that I could give you some information that you did not really see before. And so if you liked this video, then I have a playlist here for your enjoyment with other Linux related topics and tutorials. You can subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this kind of content, and if you like this particular video, why don't you give me a like? Or if you have some questions and suggestions for future videos, then you can ask me a question in the comment section, or if you want to see more, just click somewhere on the screen. And I will see you in the next video. Bye bye!